Now, when Breda Gukian said goodbye to her son as he started a new life in Dubai last year, she could never have expected events to unfold as painfully as they have.
24-year-old Billy Hood left London for what was supposed to be his big break in the world of sport, but is now serving a 25-year prison sentence. Here's Charlotte Sexton with his story.
This happened 10 days ago. Billy's mum, Breda, joins us now alongside his uncle David. His best friend, Alfred Kane, is also here. Alfred wasn't involved in the case, but wants to be a character witness, really, for Billy.
Yeah.
And founder of Detained in Dubai, Radha Stirling, also joins us with advice. But let's start with you, Breda. The nightmare began in January.
Yeah.
But when he got sentenced 10 days ago to 25 years in prison, must have been the point at which you wondered if you might have to give up hope.
I think for the first 9 months, even though we knew he'd done nothing wrong, we still had that hope.
Yeah.
But as you said, hearing that it was 25 years, it broke us, completely broke us. Still breaks me every day just thinking about it, just seeing his photo there.
Well, when you came in, you said that, you made the point. You're used to watching the news and all of a sudden you are the news.
Yeah, never wanted to be on it this way.
And it's the most shocking sentence for something which Billy says was nothing to do with him. So this is a vape oil, and it should be pointed out that this vape oil would not be criminal in this country, in the UK.
Yeah.
What was his explanation for the fact that it was in his car?
That his friend, he had dropped one of his friends to the airport and they had left it in the car, and that's why it was there.
And his friend contacted Billy to say, oh, by the way, I left that vape oil in the car.
Yeah.
And the thinking is that perhaps because it had CBD in the WhatsApp, that got intercepted in Dubai.
Yeah, so they say, because everything we get from them is in Arabic. So we're trying to find it hard to translate everything back. But yeah, that's what they say.
When was the last time you spoke to Billy?
About a month ago. And that was a three-way call. We could never, ever speak to Billy direct. It always had to go through the lawyer that would link to his brother, and then we would get to speak to him. And he always did seem to have hope. He'd always say, oh, don't worry, Mum, I'll be all right. But the last time Alex spoke to him, he said he felt like he was broken.
Did Alex speak to him since the sentence?
The day he was sentenced, before he got taken to the prison, Alex spoke to him then, and I can't swear on TV, but he just said he couldn't explain himself.
This was the opportunity for Billy was a chance of a lifetime to go to Dubai.
Yeah, we encouraged him.
To go and explore his love of football, to teach kids and train kids and work out there. There are very different rules over there. There's very different sort of legal positions on all sorts of things, which sometimes I think we get carried away with without realising. Did Billy have any idea that the CBD oil would have such serious implications when his friend messaged him?
Well, no. Well, I wouldn't have thought so. I've never asked Billy that question, but I'm sure the answer would have been no way.
He willingly took the police to search his car. There was no, this is my car that I work in. Quite happy for them to search it. Drugs tests passed, no problem at all. No forensics or fingerprints ever found on the pens or the oils or whatever they're called. Nothing at all. They said it was through social media. They never took his phone, never took his laptop, never checked any of it.
We didn't even know Billy was arrested. It was the fact that he didn't turn up for work for 3 days and his boss went to the police station and reported Billy missing, that we found out that they found out then that he'd been locked up.
So he wasn't allowed a phone call?
No, we didn't. No, not even his friends in Dubai knew that he had been arrested.
Do you know where he's being held and what conditions he's being held in?
I know in the beginning the conditions weren't good. Before, when they made him sign that statement, I know that he was in a room with 30 others, sleeping on a floor with a blanket.
Bread and water.
Bread and water, nothing else, until he signed that statement that was in Arabic. I think he did after the 4th or 5th day, but they laughed in his face and said, well, if you don't sign it, you're not getting out of here.
Let's speak to Radha Stirling, who works for Detained in Dubai. Radha, there will be parents up and down the country and people, I'm sure, that travel to Dubai all the time, and they will be shivering at the prospect of what they're hearing from Billy's perspective. I imagine from your experience, this isn't unusual, but to hear the fact that no one knew that Billy had been arrested for 3 days and then he was forced to sign a confession as a means of trying to get past the conditions he was being held in. Is that common as well?
It certainly is, and that's one of the reasons that the UK courts won't actually extradite anyone to the UAE, because of the forced confessions, the unfair trials, and the risk of human rights violations. We have seen other cases of a similar nature. And the thing is, even if you follow the letter of the law and you have nothing to do with any substances whatsoever, that doesn't necessarily protect you. If one of your friends, unbeknownst to you, is somehow involved with something like CBD vape oil and you don't know about it, you are probably going to get arrested as well in a widespread sort of broad stroke police endeavour. And we saw that with Andy Neal. He was arrested because he was listed in someone's phone contacts. But after a year in prison, he was completely exonerated. So there's nothing that people can necessarily do to protect themselves from the risk of the judicial system in the UAE.
We know he's got this appeal on Tuesday of the 25-year sentence. What hope does he have at that appeal?
I mean, it's extremely concerning because, I mean, in the first hearing, in a trial that lasted around 15 minutes, the judge automatically sided with the prosecution without evidence, save for that confession. And when it goes to appeal, it usually also goes through in the same way. And only when there is some sort of diplomatic pressure to encourage the UAE higher up authorities to review the case in great detail is a positive outcome going to happen for Billy. And what we see with the Foreign Office is that they've become less and less inclined to assist British nationals as the UAE becomes a stronger trade partner. So there is quite a conflict of interest that can result in innocent victims like Billy being locked up for extremely lengthy periods of time, longer than for a violent crime or even murder.
It's utterly shocking. I mean, it's frightening as well that he doesn't seem to have had the sort of defence or representation that would help him. Alfred Kane, you're his best friend, not involved in this case. You're not the person who left this stuff in the car. You're completely separate, but you know Billy well. How will he be coping?
He's probably one of the most positive people that I've come across in my life. And when I've had the chance to speak to him, he sounds like he's holding it together. But again, when you're in a UAE prison halfway across the world, you never actually know how somebody's feeling inside. And I spoke to him just before he got transferred to central prison. And yeah, just like Breda said, his voice sounded very different. He definitely sounded, I'd say, scared. And that worried me. That worried me a lot.
Alfred, before he went, what was his expectations and hopes? Was he aware of just what a strict state this can be when it comes to rules and regulations that are very different over here?
He'd been out there. He'd been out there for about 2 years, and for the first 8 months, I remember he came back so it gets extremely hot out there, and he'd come back for about 4 or 3 months, and he was having the time of his life. He'd been doing his coaching badges, and just wanted to progress as a football coach and come back here and carry on progressing in life. You know, he loves football. That's what he wants to do. And I guess not. I guess not. But, you know, we grow up in a society that's completely different and things are second nature to us. So...
Yeah, you're right. And, you know, I'm so sorry, Breda, and let's just hope something can be done.
Please.
The appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had much support from the Foreign Office at all?
No, not at all.
If it wasn't for Radha and Detained in Dubai, we don't know where we'd be.
No.
We just do not know where we'd be. And we appeal to anybody in the United Arab Emirates or in Dubai, anybody who can right this wrong or just stop this nightmare. We would just be so grateful.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
As a mother and as someone, and I know a lot of people know Billy, please, if anyone can help get Billy home, please do. That's all I can ask you.
We have a statement from the Foreign Commonwealth Office, and it's pretty brief. It simply says, we are giving consular support to a British man who has been imprisoned in the UAE.
Yeah.
You know more than us.
Not very much.
You know more than us.
Not very much.
We also approached the United Arab Emirates Embassy for comment as well, but they are yet to respond.
I'm sorry, I mean, 25 years seems a brutal punishment.
Sorry, guys, just quickly. There'll be a peaceful protest outside Parliament on Saturday at midday as well. So anybody who just please, anybody who would like to come down, come and share your support. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cheers.
Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you.
David.